Are we? Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So, what college or university did you go to for your undergraduate degree?
For undergraduate, I went to Texas A&M University. Loved it. Close to home, yet far enough away from home. It was a great quality state college. I majored in biomedical science, which was good because it's sort of a catch-all pre-medical, pre-allied health field major. So whether you're going to vet school or medical school or PA school or dental school, you would be able to finish all your prerequisites within the scope of this major, and not have to spend extra years in college trying to get prerequisites on top of your degree plan. So it was a good experience. No complaints. Had nothing but good things to say about Texas A&M.
Cool. And is that the same place you did medical school at?
I did not. I went to medical school at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. Phenomenal medical school. I had opportunities to go to some other places out of state, but I'm glad I stayed. The Texas Medical Center is second to none as far as the people who trained me, the pathology that I was able to see. You might, after having been out for a while, you might read about certain rare diseases and crazy things, but while I was at Baylor, I got to see all those things and experience them firsthand. And there was a decent amount of workload, which at the time wasn't very fun, but looking back, it I think helped mold me into the physician I am today. Phenomenal medical school.
Cool. What do you remember? What score was required on the MCAT to get into medical school?
There's no required score. Each school would have an average of the people that were admitted to that school. I'm not sure what the grading matrix is now. I think back then I can't even remember. But typically, 30 was the magic number in my day. If you got above 30, you probably had a pretty good chance of getting into medical school.
What science areas were the most challenging on the MCAT?
On MCAT, probably organic chemistry. Organic chemistry because it's something you just kind of have to memorize. The biological sciences and things of that nature, to me, were easy to remember because I could reason through them, and they were things that are tangible to me, like biology and plant cells and so forth. But organic chemistry was a lot of black and white memorization type stuff. For whatever reason, it didn't excite me.
Did you take any high school courses or college courses that helped you in medical school?
Veterinary anatomy helped me a little bit. Medical school anatomy was a little more in depth, but I'd say anatomy probably helped me. What else? Maybe microbiology, just when you're learning about the different bacteria and things of this nature in your first year of medical school. But other than that, that's about it. Medical school is so much more different than the MCAT or anything else you're going to do in undergraduate. The volume of information you have to know is just, you can't really compare the two.
What hospital did you intern and do your residency?
I went to Scott and White Memorial in Temple, Texas, which is sort of like a managed healthcare system where you have one large teaching hospital that has its own specialty clinics and primary care doctors, and it's all sort of one system, so similar to the Mayo Clinic or Kelsey-Seybold in Houston or one of these large multi-specialty groups.
About how much did your education cost with student loans and grants and financial aid?
You mean undergraduate plus medical school plus?
Yes.
Okay, so undergraduate, it didn't cost me anything. I had quite a few scholarships and stuff like that, so I got an undergraduate for nothing. Medical school, after it was all said and done, I had scholarships to medical school. I didn't pay any tuition, but living expenses and things like that, I'd say probably $64,000, something like that. But that's very low. Most people that finish medical school, many of my friends, $180,000, $200,000 in debt.
How did you decide upon your specialty?
I kind of went to medical school on a whim. I wasn't sure I wanted to do anything where I'd be on call or interact with people that were sort of stuffy and all this. I didn't really know anything about emergency medicine until I had to rotate in the pediatric ER. my third year of medical school. And I worked nothing but night shifts for 2 weeks. I loved it. You just got all kinds of stuff in all hours of the day and night. Saw all kinds of cool stuff. Time seemed to fly by. I felt like I was doing procedures. I felt like it was fast paced. I felt like I was having fun. And I realized that's what the specialty was for me.
Was finding a position easy at first?
A position as far as job now or residency?
Job now.
Luckily, emergency medicine is one of the specialties where there's a huge lack of trained emergency medicine physicians and generally in hospitals around the country. Unfortunately, the Austin area is a very popular place to live, so it makes the job market tougher. Luckily, I was able to sort of segue into a job with the same hospital system, and it wasn't terribly difficult for me. In general, finding a job as an emergency physician is fairly easy, and it's fairly easy to find a good paying job, especially in big cities like Houston or Dallas and things of that nature, even smaller towns. Austin, Denver, San Francisco, cities like that, it's going to be harder, and the pay is going to be lower because they don't have a shortage of people that want to live there. So supply and demand kind of thing. But in general, emergency physicians have no problem finding a job.
Were there any other standardized tests besides the MCAT that you needed to take to become a doctor?
No, not other than the SAT. I did take the GRE when I applied to vet school, but I didn't have to take that for medical school, just MCAT. Back then, I don't know what it is now.
About how many hours do you work a week?
I average 144 hours a month. So I would divide that by 4. That's about how many hours a week. But we don't, I might work 4, 5, 6 days in one week, and the next week I might not work any. So it kind of averages out over a month. It's shift work, so you're working like a firefighter or a police officer or nurses, things like that.
Do you enjoy working in the emergency room?
I love it. I wouldn't do any other aspect of medicine. I'm not, I guess, your typical doctor and real stuffy and serious. The ER is sort of laid back and fun, and has to be that way because of the nature of the things we deal with, which sort of fits my personality. I think any other aspect of medicine, I would get extremely bored. Sort of thirst for the acuity and the sick people. I think emergency medicine is one of the last fields of medicine where you're actually being a doctor. You see people for the first time, you're trying to figure out the problem, you're trying to at least get a workup started. Medicine has become a practice of specialties. You get GI doctors, you get heart doctors, you get all these people that do all these things, and I think they see, people kind of filter to them. The opportunity to work up patients for the first time and do doctor stuff is becoming less and less. I think emergency medicine is one of the few specialties where you get to truly be a doctor.
What advice would you offer a student desiring to become an emergency room physician?
First, be sure that medicine is something you actually want to do. I know that it seems